Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. And almost right on time, almost right on cue. What if Donald Trump watches my show? That would be so cool. I would say I'd like Cory Booker to watch it, but he'd probably just cry through the whole thing, so. Don't like grown men who cry every time they open their mouth. It's just ridiculous. So a funny thing was posted this morning, and this is from Newsweek, Jacob Jarvis, Thursday, October 15, 2020. Donald Trump says China will pay for stimulus bill. They're the ones that caused the problem. So if you'll remember to my last video, I said one of the major mistakes that Democrats are making is that they're not going after China. It's almost like they're beholden to China. Right? And I said the only one that's actually putting this where it belongs at China's feet is Donald Trump. I swear to God. You know what? I don't know if the man's a genius, but I do know this. Career politicians on both sides, Republican and Democrat, make him look not only like a genius, but like he's the only one that has any common sense. It's probably because he hasn't been a lifelong politician. I really think common sense flies out the window. And that's Democrat or Republican. If you're a lifelong politician, I think, common sense flies out the window. Let me read you this article. And then I'm going to tell you about the mistake Donald Trump did make that I would not have done were I the president seeking re-election. And I'll tell you why. But let me read this article to you. President Donald Trump has suggested China will somehow cover the cost of the next coronavirus relief package in the United States. Amid a stalemate in talks, he has said he would go higher in terms of spending on a stimulus bill and that China would cover such costs. Now, what they're doing right there is wordplay. Wordplay, right? So I don't know if he's going to cut it at the 1.8 trillion he wants, and then China will cover the rest of the 3 trillion or whatever that the Democrats want, somewhere around that range. And the Democrats just want to give money away. It's crazy. You can't run a country like that. You damn sure can't run a business like that. And I think Donald Trump understands that. I would go higher because this was not caused by our workers and our people. This was caused by China. And China will pay us back in one form or another, he said in an interview with Fox Business. We're going to take it from China. I tell you now, it's coming out of China. They're the ones that caused this problem. Asked how this would work in terms of getting money from the nation, he said, there is a lot of ways, and I'll figure every one of them out. I already have them figured out. His comments come amid an ongoing stalemate over a further stimulus package as talks continue in a bid to reach a bipartisan agreement. A point of contention thus far has been costs, with Democrats asking for more money than Republicans have been willing to sanction. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi are due to discuss stimulus further Thursday. That is the end of the article. So, the fact that Nancy Pelosi went to all places in San Francisco when President Trump first shut down the country and she called him a xenophobe, said he was racist, implied a lot of dirty stuff. And she goes down to Chinatown and says, come on down. Biden came out, followed her lead, said the same thing. This man's a racist. I can't believe he cut off travel from China. Well, we've lost 210,000 lives. We probably would have lost 2-3 million if he wouldn't have. And the fact that the Democrats are not willing to call out China, the fact that people like LeBron James aren't willing to call out China and do the man up, and then demand respect, which I'm going to do a video on that right after this. So there'll be 2 videos up today. Tells me everything I need to know. I'm not voting for these people. I'm not going to vote for them at all. So Trump is the only one doing the right thing. Now let me tell you about a mistake he did make that I wouldn't have. And that was pushing through I look at it as a mistake as far as in terms of getting reelected. It may not have been a mistake. I just look at it like that. I could be wrong. I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. Well, no, I might run for office one day. No time soon, though. Maybe next year. Anyway, so I would not have rushed through Amy Coney Barrett, ACB as they call her. Here's the reason. She's a staunch supporter of the Second Amendment. And if you'll notice, the Supreme Court's just turned over California's magazine ban, which has been in place for years. So it takes a long time to get there. So they can enact a law. Let's say California enacts a law. It could take 4 to 5 years to get to the Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court overturns it, but you still have to deal within that 4 or 5 year time period. But I would not have rushed to appoint her, knowing she's a staunch Second Amendment person. Here's why. Millions of people just went out and bought rifles and handguns because they're afraid of their cities turning into cities like Portland and Seattle. You see the murder rate in Chicago, Baltimore, New York tripling. And not by, hey, we had 20 murders last year, this year we got 21. They're going up by 200-300%. I would not have done it from a tactical standpoint of vote for me and I'll save your Second Amendment. Now you have ACB on the Supreme Court, because I have no doubt she's going to get through. She was very impressive. I actually watched some of the hearings. She was very, very impressive. I was impressed, at least. I wouldn't have put it through. Because now you're going to have millions of Americans who went out and bought those guns and are questioning, which do I value more? The safety of my family or some stupid ideology? Most people are going to side on the safety of their family, most smart people. So now you've kind of taken that away, because with ACB on the Supreme Court, she's a staunch Second Amendment justice, right? And the Supreme Court is already overturning a lot of stupid, common sense gun laws. Some of those people aren't going to be, the pressure's off. Now they don't have to vote for Trump to reserve those gun rights. I would have just left it, honestly. I'd have been like, hey, I'm going to use this as my campaign platform. If I win, I win. But I definitely would have pushed that, because when you have Biden and Francis and Kamala coming out saying, yeah, we're going to take your guns. We're going to take your AR-15, which is your most efficient means of defending yourself, especially from large groups of people. And don't say it's not going to happen, because it's happening in Portland. It's happening in Seattle. These BLM, they're not really BLM. You know what? Put it like this. The BLM LLC people are going around demanding people get out of their houses. If you fly an American flag in front of your house, they're going to show up in large groups. So what do you want to defend yourself from a large group? A handgun with 7 rounds, or an AR-15 which can hold an 80-round drum? Think about that. So I wouldn't have done it, but he did do it. I understand why. I'm glad he did. It protects my Second Amendment rights. One of the things during that whole hearing was they kept bringing up the Affordable Care Act. She's going to overturn the Affordable Care Act. If justices weren't pretty much by the book, I'm not going to sit up and pretend like personal biases don't come into their judgments. But if they weren't pretty much by the book, ACA would be overturned now. So, and I've already explained to you the 2 jobs of the Supreme Court. 1, to determine that all people are treated fairly under the law. And 2, to determine if a law is constitutional or not. So I probably wouldn't have appointed her right away. I would have left that thread out there. They're going to take your guns. because Biden and Harris have already said it. Every Democrat has said it. And really, the real question is, now that this is almost over, why do they want to take your guns? Why is that so important to them? It's not about stopping crime. As you see, they're defunding the police. You cannot tell me how defunding the police is going to stop crime. It doesn't. It makes crime worse. Look in these cities where they've defunded the police: Portland, Seattle, Los Angeles, Baltimore, Chicago. And crime is spiking because criminals are getting a free pass. The liberal prosecutors won't prosecute. They're letting these gangbangers run free. Saw an article this morning about Seattle and how they're letting gangbangers out and crime is going up. And you're restricting the rights of law-abiding citizens because the only people that follow gun control laws are law-abiding citizens. So check this out, right? I can get an AR-15 right now, for a third of the price off the street than I can from a legal gun store. But I go through legal gun stores because I'm a law-abiding citizen. So tell me how that makes sense. And if I buy it out of the trunk of some dude's car, you're not going to trace it because there's no paperwork on it. Think about that. The Democrats are not about decreasing crime. You can look at their cities and see that. The Democrats are not about calling out China. Matter of fact, the one NBA player who did call out China, LeBron James, called him uneducated on the subject. Well, LeBron, you're full of shit. Just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But no, Trump is the only one holding China's feet to the fire. Nobody else is doing it. And when I say nobody, I mean Democrats or Republicans. Maybe Tucker Carlson, but he's not an elected politician. Maybe Sean Hannity, he's not an elected politician. Don Lemon makes excuses for him. I know because I watch his show. I have to sit through it, my barf bag. My dog won't even watch it. By the way, Zoe's favorite show is Tucker Carlson. She'll actually sit there and watch it. It's really funny. So, but nobody's calling out China. No American politician is, besides for Donald Trump, which I said I don't even consider him a politician. He's like the regular guy who won the mayoral race. It's basically what he is. So, but like I said again, almost on time, he put this out. Almost on time. It's like, wow, I just put that show up last night. So at The Real Donald Trump, if you're watching, thank you, sir, for fighting for us. Thank you for calling out China. China caused a world pandemic, and they should be held to account. No one else is doing it but Donald Trump. So remember, like, subscribe, share, do what you got to do.